Welcome to Living with an Invisible Learning Challenge, where we will discuss and discover the challenges and triumphs of those living with NLD, nonverbal learning disability, and other learning challenges such as autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dysgraphia, and any other invisible learning differences that one may live with. And I like to interview individuals as well who live with various learning challenges. So if you know anybody, please point me their way, or if you are that individual, I would love to interview you on various topics. So please let me know. And I welcome you to this podcast. So today's episode will be on relationships, and specifically on the ending of relationships and how those are for neurodivergence. So, the first article I'm going to read is titled Failed Relationships and Neurodivergence by Kristy Forbes, written in September of 2021. Quote, sometimes we have this history of trauma behind that, and that can actually really be hard for us to go into new relationships with when we have fears and phobias and sometimes rational anxiety about, the same things happening again. So, something that happens with autistic folks like myself is, we often are very loyal and very enthusiastic in our friendships or relationships. And for me, I have such an intense depth and range of emotions and emotional experience, and thinking and analyzing my feelings consume me in a good way. So when I say I love someone, I really love someone. When I'm hurt, I'm really hurt. But I've had to learn throughout my life to not jump in really, really quickly, and to just, be cool, man, be cool. It doesn't come naturally to me at all. Close quote. So, this article explores the complexities of relationships and friendships for neurodivergent individuals, particularly those with autism, ADHD, and pathological demand avoidance, PDA. Kristy Forbes shares personal experiences and insights on why relationships may fail, emphasizing the challenges of trauma, rejection, sensitivity, and differing communication styles. She discusses how neurodivergent people often experience deep loyalty and intense emotions in relationships, making breakups or ghosting especially painful. The difficulty of distinguishing between intuition and trauma plays a role, and trust issues as past rejections can lead to heightened fear in new relationships. Forbes also highlights the importance of radical acceptance, acknowledging that not all relationships are forever, practicing self compassion, and understanding that not everyone is capable of open communication. She encourages neurodivergent individuals to find spaces where they feel safe and valued rather than forcing themselves to conform to neurotypical friendship standards. Quote, my brain automatically scans for all the things that could go wrong. I've learned that it's what my brain does, and that's okay, but I don't have to buy into it. Close quote. Neurodivergent individuals often struggle with the trust due to a heightened threatened response. So, my thoughts about that quote, I used to do this too, but don't much anymore because it doesn't really help me or anyone else. I do struggle with trust because of the childhood trauma and family traumas I've experienced, but that always is going to be part of my life, unfortunately. But a good thing to note is that it doesn't have the same strength or weight on me as it used to, and I think that's a good thing. And I'm doing this episode because I recently was dating someone, and I was dating them for about a month, and then they decided to end things because they were looking for jobs outside of the state. And I knew things were going to end eventually, but I I was kind of hurt by how they ended it because they decided to do it over text, not in person. And I'm doing this episode not to spite that person, but just to kind of share about my feelings and how it affects neurodivergence, because it did hurt me that he did it over text and not in person, because I deserve that, or he didn't even do it over the phone. And it's like, he reached out a week later to try to he wanted to make things right, in quotes, and wanted to meet up and have dinner. And it's like, no, I'm not gonna give you that satisfaction of doing that, dude. It's not right, and it's not you should have done that in the first place, and it's not gonna make a difference. And it's like there were other things that we talked about that I don't really need to discuss on here, but it was like, for me, one of the things that I asked him later on with that text that I should have asked earlier was like, why did you even have a dating profile when you knew things were going to end quickly? And I think I should have asked that in the beginning to kind of protect myself, because um that would have been better. But I didn't ask because didn't I just didn't know if things were going to go as well as they did. And we became pretty close over a month. And you know we went on probably a date every weekend. And like I said, I'm not doing this out of spite for that person, but I'm trying to share with you my experiences and what I've learned from them. And I hope that you can learn from them too in some way, and that um, you don't have to have experiences I've had. Um, Not everybody has the ability to communicate. Not everybody feels safe to communicate, honestly. Some relationships fail because of differences in communication styles, not necessarily personal failings. So, my thoughts about that: I don't always feel comfortable with communicating honestly in the beginning of relationships, but once I get to know the person better, I'm better at it, because I know that's how I would want to be treated by others. Quote, when I don't know why somebody doesn't want to be my friend anymore, I internalize that is about me. Unquote. Unexplained endings like ghosting can lead to deep self doubt and overanalyzing. My thoughts about this. Yes, ghosting can often lead to self doubt because you don't always know why they ended the relationship or the whole picture. But you got to remember that it is probably more about them than you, and it is more about them than you. That is their loss, not yours. Um, Sorry if that was worded poorly. Quote, I try and learn that not all relationships are forever. I am grateful for the relationships I have had, but I don't have to beat myself up on myself over that. Close quote. Accepting the impermanence of some connections can help with healing and moving forward. My thoughts about this quote. Yes, that's very true, and good to remind yourself of the impermanence, because then you hopefully won't get too attached. I had a recent experience with this earlier this year, like I said before. Um, and I didn't expect him to end it over a text. And after only a month. Um, and just so you know, when something like that happens for me and the person doesn't really stop texting or being persistent and wanting to meet up and make things right, I tend to kind of back off and just it's not the most kind thing to do, but I block the person and I block them in any way I can because it's like I'm protecting myself and I'm trying to um make sure that I before I go into that, I thought I would address that this election is going to be very important, and I am not telling you how to vote. I'm just encouraging you to vote. If you are 18 years old or older, I encourage you to vote and to do a lot of research so that you are informed on what you're voting on and that you are able to do, I guess, do well with the voting process and be informed on it. Um, and I am also an ambassador for the NVLD project, and then NVLD project is trying to get the NVLD back on the DSM, which is a manual for mental and learning disabilities, and it helps people get accommodations in school and in life by defining what the disability is and how it affects you in life, and by showing examples and evidence of it, and by giving it clear definition of it. So that's what the DSM is, and they're trying to get NVLD back in there. And in order to do that, they renamed NVLD to visual spatial disorder. Sorry, developmental visual spatial disorder. I always forget the D. And my hope is that when they do that, they will list all the symptoms, because nonverbal wasn't a very good name for it either, but neither is developmental visual spatial disorder, because it's not just developmental and visual spatial, it's also the social, which nonverbal doesn't have either. So it's like my name that I've kind of developed for it, which I'm not sure if it's very good either, is invisible learning spectrum disorder. But I don't know if that's very good either. So anyways, and this podcast is also supported by Patreon and Spotify and BetterHelp. So BetterHelp is a therapy company that does therapy online and remotely. I have not used BetterHelp, but I know they're very good, and I have been in therapy for more than 8 years. I think 8.5. I'm not doing it currently, but I was doing it last year, and it was very helpful for me when I was doing it online and remotely. It was very helpful for me. It was able to change a lot of things in my life and make my life better. So if you want a discount for BetterHelp, I'll include the link for that. And Patreon is a way for me to give you the episodes without any ads, like I'm doing right now. And I give you access to transcripts as well, and to the episodes without any ads. So if you want that, it's either $5 for the episode without any ads or $10 with the transcript. I know that might seem like a lot of money, but I'm not really not doing it for the money. I'm trying to do it so I can donate the money to the NVLD project, or so I can do it to pay back on my website subscription fee. So um, if you're willing to do that, please do. I will give the link for that as well in the description. And I also have podcast swag. I will get the link for that as well. T-shirts and water bottles and tote bags and other pretty cool stuff. So I will give the link for that as well. Won't get heard, and that person can't contact me anymore. And then I kind of wait and see what happens, because sometimes I think, oh, are they gonna try to contact me in another way? Are they gonna make another phone number or another email or another social media profile or whatever? And nobody has, which is good, because they shouldn't. They should move on, and they should let you move on, which is healthy. But some people may do that and make another profile and try to reach out to you again. And if they do that, then they're a con artist or a stalker. And that's where it gets really bad. So that's also why I wanted to do this episode, because it's very tricky when a relationship ends. You have to grieve, you have to cope with it, you have to be able to get through it, whatever it is, whether it's romantic, friendship, or a loved one in the family dying, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna get some water. And if I sound very monotone today, it's because I've been dealing with it raining here in San Diego pretty much all week. So my head is hurting a lot. So I didn't even think I was going to record an episode today, but I decided to do it because I wanted to. So the next article is titled Being Me Again in My Neurodiverse Relationship by Natalie. And no, this is not from a friend who you've heard me had on my podcast before. It's a different Natalie, just so you don't get confused. Quote, first published in 2019, revised in 2021. Previous references to Asperger's syndrome changed to reflect allyship with the autistic community and new information and perspectives about the work of Hans Asperger. I respect the continued use of this language for anyone else. Indeed, it's still used by my family members, as it was their doorway to this aspect of their identity. My story includes extracts from my journal in italics between December 2014 and May 2018, and a 2023 update at the end. Close quote. Quote, Natalie Roberts shares her personal journey of rediscovering herself with a neurodiverse marriage. After her husband Pete's late autism diagnosis, she grappled with feelings of isolation and the challenges of Cassandra syndrome, a condition arising from a lack of emotional reciprocity. Sorry, that's hard to say. And social isolation in such relationships. Through self-reflection and commitment to personal growth, Natalie transformed her relationship dynamics, leading to mutual understanding and support. Here are the 3 insight quotes from her narrative. Quote, I've arrived in a place called hopeless, and it's very physical experience. 2, I have to find me, my needs, my preferences, my views. 3, I'm me, and today I also see that I can be me with you, and I don't want you to have to be anything other than yourself either. So my thoughts about these quotes. I can relate to these 3 quotes because I know what it's like to be hopeless from migraines and having to find me and my needs and self-care too. I also realized that all I want to do is to be myself because that's what I deserve, and so do others. Some reminders. So if the going gets tough, I remember why I have to find another way wants us to share the same space, but not really do or be together. Feeling like I'm walking on eggshells all the time and scared to make changes, questioning my own sanity, don't know my own preferences anymore. I haven't cried for more than 10 years. That was also from the article. And my thoughts about these quotes. I often feel like I'm walking on eggshells because of the migraines I get, which I can, which I call Voldemort, like from Harry Potter series. And sometimes say, "Get the hell out, Voldemort," or "Get the hell out of here, Voldemort, and don't come back." I also question my own sanity because it often feels like I'm sick, in quotes, from the migraines and always being constantly exhausted and debilitated by them. But that's something I've gotten used to over the years out of necessity and needing to realize that I need to put my needs first sometimes and ask for help from others. I do know my own preferences but sometimes they are put to the side for a bit when others need me more than myself. And I don't cry often because I know that only exasperates things and doesn't help Voldemort or anyone else. The last article is titled "The Four-Part Process Neurodiverse Couples Need to Know" by Laurie Budlong Morse, who has an LMFT, and this one is from January of 2023. Um, quote, Laurie Budlong Morse, a certified neurodiverse couples therapist, outlines a four-part process to help neurodiverse couples strengthen their relationships. This approach emphasizes building connection and finding creative solutions through awareness, conversation, and cooperation. Here are 3 insight quotes from the article. 1, I found there are 4 areas of awareness, conversation, and cooperation that really help partners build connection and discover creative solutions. 2, accurate map making in your neurodiverse relationship involves understanding each other's perspectives and experiences. 3, twice compassion is key to this process. It consists of 1 part self-compassion and 1 part partner compassion. Close quote. These quotes highlight the importance of mutual understanding and compassion in neurodiverse relationships. In her article, Laurie Budlong Morse, identifies 4 key areas that foster connection and collaboration in neurodiverse relationships. 1, chores, addressing household responsibilities to ensure a balanced partnership. 2, communication, developing effective ways to express thoughts and feelings. 3, connection, building emotional bonds and understanding between partners. 4, creativity, finding innovative solutions to unique challenges within the relationship. These areas of awareness, conversation, and cooperation can help partners strengthen their bond and navigate the complexities of the neurodiverse relationships. Close quote. So, my thoughts about that and those quotes, the chores, communication, and creativity make sense to me because I know that they are important and sometimes essential to things running smoothly for others. Connection is important because sometimes we forget to do that often, and then it's hard to do it after a break, so to speak. Creativity helps us remember the child inside of us all, and communication is key because without that, there is no relationship the same can be said of trust. So I'm going to wrap up here. Neurodivergent individuals often experience relationships with deep intensity. Sorry, let me start over. Neurodivergent individuals often experience relationships with deep intensity, making breakups particularly challenging. Kristy Forbes explores how trauma, rejection, sensitivity, and communication differences contribute to relationship struggles, emphasizing the importance of self compassion and acceptance of impermanence. Natalie Roberts shares her journey in a neurodiverse marriage, highlighting the isolation that can arise from emotional disconnects and the importance of rediscovering personal identity. Laurie Budlong Morse outlines a four-part framework towards communication, connection, and creativity that fosters stronger relationships through awareness and cooperation. These perspectives underscore the complexities of the neurodiverse relationships and the need for mutual understanding, adaptability, and emotional resilience. I hope that episode was helpful for you. I know it was a little bit of a long one, but I wanted to share that with you. So I will talk to you next week. Have a good one.
I hope that episode was well worth it for you to listen to and that you were able to take something away from it, even if you don't have a learning challenge, or if you do. I hope it was extra worthwhile for you so that you are able to learn something and maybe journal and jot down some few takeaways so that the next time you experience that challenge yourself, you're able to um, learn how to breathe through it more easily, or maybe not have a meltdown or a tantrum, or be able to take away more learning from it and not make the same mistake twice, and be able to also help somebody else go through that experience if you have a friend who has a learning difference and you are neurotypical. So I hope you will be able to have some experiences in your life now that you have listened to this episode.